All right, what's up, guys? John Sintez here. Got the podcast back up. I got a legend today, Joe Torre from Black Sox Baseball. First thing we're going to do is go through my website, check out on Instagram. Actually, Joe, would you mind muting your mic right there? Because we're getting bad feedback, actually.
Muting it? What if I
what
if I go like that?
Yeah, actually, I think.
Better?
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, perfect. There we go. All right, cool. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. So on the online store, I've got my J-Bands, which I got right here with me here. We got J-Bands on the store. We also got tap weighted balls. I've got shirts on here. I've got new stuff coming out. Check out the logos. A baseball shirt right here. All on there. Also got weighted balls, flush bands, all kinds of great stuff on there. So wanted to, been trying to get the podcast back going. Now I got, like I said, a legend, Joe Torre. I met this guy back in, I want to say 2014, 2013. We were debating about it just a second ago. I played in the Pecos League, and that's pretty much where I got my start. Came back from a terrible elbow injury. I was telling some people about last time on the podcast. I broke my elbow pitching in college, and after a couple surgeries, getting all the way back, now I'm back playing again. So, Joe, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Right now, you're in America. Why don't you tell everybody where you're at?
I want to make sure you're good, dude. I'm not the technology guy for sure. That's why we're driving a 2007 Honda CRV with 272,000 miles on it. We just hit it, 272, driving to, I don't know, where are we going? We're going to Denver. For what reason? To kill time before California spring training. But, yeah, man, so thanks, John. That's awesome. You know, keeping in contact with some of these guys, and it's like a throwback day because I met John in Alamogordo, and I just signed like 5 players to play there this season, and a lot of guys just literally called the coach from White Sands, and we're sending a picture there. He's flying from New York tomorrow or in a couple days, so it's pretty cool. And it was actually a total accident how I met John, and a total accident how I'm even doing what I'm doing. I mean, I guess it's not an accident. I guess it's all synchronicity and, you know, it's all meant to be together. But I was just there. We had a series in Las Cruces, and we had an off day, and there was a tryout in White Sands, Alamogordo, New Mexico, which is like the worst place on earth. You know, they got security guards outside the Chili's with machine guns. And I'm like, yo, what happened here? And he's like, it's a dangerous town. You know, I was like, yes. So I stayed in a hotel one extra night to go to this tryout. I was with the Roswell Invaders. I was a player coach. After not playing pro ball for like 3 years, Simon Walters got me back in the mix, and I jumped in. And yeah, I wasn't playing much. I was like a late inning defense guy, and I couldn't hit very much. And I don't even know why I was there. Simon just hooked me up, and he wanted me to go scout a showcase that they were going to have before I went back to see if there was. It's like, yeah, I go to this tryout in Alamogordo, and I meet Mal Fitchman there, and I meet Andrew Dunn there. And I meet, just some guys there that other managers. I think that's where I met Chris Patterson. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if Casey Dill was there. I don't remember, but it was Joe Torre, 20-whatever-year-old Joe Torre at the Pecos League tryout with a bunch of random guys that were there. And it was crazy. I met John. I met these guys. I still have the list, and I still talk to a bunch of the guys. It's crazy, and that really kick-started the whole thing for me. Actually, this meeting that I'm talking about with John really fueled it because what happened was I was driving Andrew Dunn, and he's like, yo, how would you like to work under a big league manager for one day? And I'm like, yeah. I was literally driving this Honda down a very similar road, and he said, just turn around right now. And I said, all right. And I turned around, and he said, it's going to be for one day. They're probably going to clip you immediately. He's like, Joe, these are big league guys. Joe, you don't know when talks. He's got that, like, you know, he had my back, but he was warning me. And then he said, maybe they'll keep you for 3 days. Maybe they'll keep you for 5 days, whatever. And I was just down. And so I had to go to El Paso from Roswell or from White Sands. So I called my guy in Roswell, like, yo, I don't know what to do, man. They want me to go coach first base or third base or something. And I've never really done that. And you guys are the professionals. I'm not. I'm just Joe Torre, like late inning defense guy, you know. And I bring the Wu-Tang and the impulse trainer, you know. And he's like, no, dude, Joe, you got to go get the experience, see what it is. So I went there, and I walk in, and I meet Tim Johnson, who had managed in the big leagues. And I was supposed to work for him until Carlos Lascano got there, and then I was supposed to go home. But the key thing about the whole thing was that the team I went to in El Paso was like 3-23. We were horrible, and apparently they were going to whack the whole team. They just couldn't.
Well, it seems like, I guess, America's cell service is worse than Mexico. I'm not sure. I think we're going to try this again. Maybe we're going to see if we get to a better area or something. I'm not sure, but hold on just a second. All right. Whatever part of America you're in is an issue. You know, you lost a little connection. No big deal. So anyway, we were saying you were in. Where were you again? You were in New Mexico. You were in Alamogordo, right? And then you were coaching in El Paso or something?
Yeah, I was just driving around in the desert. It was crazy. And I wound up, because I had my car, which I always tell my players to bring their car. And out of we've signed like 20 guys so far, and most of them are so. But yeah, Dunn just told me, turn around, go to El Paso, work for Tim Johnson. So I worked for him, and one day, and he told me to keep my mouth shut, don't say anything. And then they mentioned that they needed some pitching. And I said, I just saw like 7 left-handed pitchers throwing 90 miles an hour in the Pecos League. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, like I saw a dude released by the Diamondbacks, a dude released by the Kansas City Royals. And they were like, no, you didn't. And I was like, yeah, I did. So in a couple of days, I had Kyle Creech, Blake Cull. Blake Cole turned me on to Atmosphere, actually, some California rap, bro, which was awesome. I had Brandon Godfrey from Roswell, and all these guys came and threw bullpens for El Paso, and they signed them like one at a time, like every couple of days. And that's where I learned a lot about professional baseball, and I learned a lot about what you really got to do to sign players and get an in somewhere. And guys out and stuck in the rotation. Freaky, he was really good, but a little erratic. Cole was good. He had good numbers, and we released him. But we were trying to make him 23 the playoff because I was a nobody, and I was just at a random tryout, and I found some guys just to help the team out, and they stuck for a little while anyway. And that kind of developed my relationship with Oscar Suarez. And then obviously Suarez went over to Joplin, and they owned Joplin for a couple of years, and now they're in Cleburne, and we just played them for 3 games. I mean, I played them, I think, 12 or 15 spring training games in the last 3 or 4 years based off of a relationship that I made when I met you in 2012, you know. And not just that, signed but a lot of players, and Matt Parrish, Aaron Brill, Josh Evans, Bobby Orozco, Timmy Williams. You know, we signed a lot of guys. Actually, I don't know if Williams ever signed, but yeah, Steve Chapter. Just a lot of guys ended up going there and getting an opportunity, a foot in the door, and those guys really, I think, respected my hustle and what I did, and that's why we have this relationship that we have today. And they might pick a kid up coming up here if he pitches well and he shows that he can pitch up. And you know, they're being around TJ and Carlos and Oscar and everybody really. Freddie Flores was a big time guy for me, man. He taught me a lot of stuff. Brian Daly came in about halfway through and took over as the pitching coach. I learned a lot from Brian too, and I think he was younger than me. He just got done playing, and you know, I learned a lot from all these guys. And it kind of, the next year they wanted me to go back and coach, but they didn't have enough money. And you know, I had an indoor facility. It was pretty good, and I didn't really want to throw all that away and go back to the desert where I didn't really make much money in the first place. El Paso, dude, I went home to go to, and there were 5 players under sleep. They were supposed to pitch for El Paso the next good old. I let them all sleep in my hotel room, which I didn't pay for. I had to pay for the room. I let 4 dudes sleep in the bed, and I slept on the floor for like 3 days. And that included Jordan Marks from the White Sands Pupfish, who just made 6 errors the day before at shortstop and somehow got signed as our utility guy. And he ended up hitting like 420 for like 60 games. It was insane. Yeah, he didn't play much, but he had this big. I drove my car back to Roswell to play in a game, or I drove to the airport, flew to El Paso, played a game, watched a game. Sometimes I went all the way back to even play. But he didn't even play me because we were good and he wanted to win. So so that was how I'd spend my off day. And then in the middle of the night, I'd leave at like 4 a.m. drive back to the El Paso airport, and fly to meet El Paso wherever they were, Kansas City, Sioux Falls, Sioux City. I did that like 3 times, and then I stopped doing it because it was really killing me. But I did it on my off days. I was probably the only guy in America playing and coaching in 2 leagues at the same time. Kind of like last year, Drew and I were in the Joplin and the coaching both teams for stupid shit in the Pecos League or anything. But, it's just we've run into some situations that just kind of catapulted this whole spring training thing. And the next year they wanted me to go back and there was no money. And I was like, and Tim Johnson was like, look, Joey, don't come out here and kill yourself in the desert. This shit sucks. That's exactly what he said. He said, call Gary Templeton with the Newark Bears and play his team in spring training. So I was like, all right, I'm in. So I called Gary and I say, I know, Tim Johnson. And it's like, who am I? Joe Torre talking to the guy who got traded for Ozzie Smith. Like, what the fuck? So I'm talking to Jonathan Sintes right now. The guy's like a legend. It's like I watch you like on TV. And so I call him and he gives me 2 spring training games. And I'm like taking my men's league team, which my team is basically a men's league team from New Jersey that I needed to find a way to get 400 or 500 at bats a year because I didn't play in high school and I didn't play in college. So who was going to give Joe Torre a chance, So the Black Sox kind of were just a men's league thing. And then we just started playing the Newark Bears one year. We had the 2 games. We played them pretty well. We almost beat them. And then one day smoked us a couple times. And then we almost won when I started Kyle Van Vliet Van Halen, number 99. Kid was awesome. And then the next year I was like, wait a minute. If we could play the Newark Bears, why can't I play other teams? So in 2014, there was a new league that started, kind of like a scam league, the IBL it was called. But it actually ended up being a foot in the door for a lot of players. And I got a lot of good players from it. And I played in it myself a couple games during their playoff run. So in 2014 is where I took Drew with me, and me and Drew partnered up, and he's pitching, catching, coaching, everything. And we had a big league pitching coach, and we played them, I think, in 5 or 6 games. We lost once or twice.
6 games.
We were the best.
Tied once, and we lost 1.
Yeah, we were the best team in the league. We were the best team in the league. If we stayed all season, we'd probably lose 5 games. But we had a guy from the Colorado Rockies. We had Tyler said couldn't hit, and we signed him. He played AAA with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, it was crazy, but that was 2014. And then we realized since we're pretty good in that league, why don't we try to play? I was getting coaches' jobs at the American Association and all these places, and we were going to try to play some real teams. So we got some good players, and we played some real teams. And Matty Parrish signed with Joplin, and Nate Stewart signed with Sioux Falls, and we went to California, signed Steve Chapter and Evans and Brill. And we were like, so 2016 came. We were like, let's play all the leagues. So we played everybody but the Atlantic League last year. The Pecos League, the Empire League, the Ozark Wizard of Oz League, the Heartland Wizard of Oz League, and all those leagues, they won't play us. But and then this year, yeah, we're too professional for them. And then this year, we played our first games in the Atlantic League. We did more Frontier League games than we ever did, and it's just been growing every year. Next year, I want to play 80 games. I want to go to Mexico, bro. I'd play in Mexico. I'd play in Canada. I'd play anywhere. It's just a matter of, hey, man, some people don't want us to play. We're a pay-to-play. I charge money to play, but I charge money to pay Drew and pay myself and eat. We just want to eat, and we just want to be able to cover our living and pay for the gas and pay for the oil changes and fix the window that won't go up or down and maybe get some air conditioning for the summer or whatever. But that's all we're really trying to do. The most I charge a guy could be around $1,000 for spring training. I mean, Florida's a little more expensive because we do more of an elaborate training program, and we bring in Carlos Lascanos, our head player developer. We bring in Pelfrey. Simon Walters sets a 60-game schedule for us with scouts there. I mean, more, it costs more money, but I just, one thing I learned when I met you, spring training invites and you get burned. I learned that hard way, man. I was with Fred Ferreira in the Play Ball Academy in 2006, 7, 8. Dude, I paid my thousands of dollars. I went to the Nick Belmonte camps. I paid the money. He told me to go enjoy my lunch, which was a fucking granola bar in a box, in the corner for rookies. We didn't get to eat real food. And I've been to the tryouts, and I did the stuff, and I didn't play in high school, and I didn't play in college. So when I signed in 2009 to play in Italy, I realized how watered down this shit really was, and that I actually had a chance, because now I'm about to maybe have a chance to make a team, and I'm 33, and my last real chance I had to make a team was 8 years ago. And how good can professional baseball be if Joe Torre can have a shot? But then again, I put my
Okay, so we lost Joe again for a second. Maybe he'll come back in just a second. But great guy, man. Can't speak enough about him. I sent him a couple guys. One buddy of mine, in particular, up in New York. But I've been following his stuff. He put out some good rants on a lot of good things for a while about inside business stuff on professional baseball. And oh, there you are. You're back. Get you. So I lost you for a second there, Joe. You said that you're down in Florida, and you were just kind of you know, like you do, man. Like when you go Facebook Live and you just start going and talking and talking, you get that engine going. That's great stuff. It's awesome that you're able to provide jobs. It kind of cut out a little bit, but basically, I'd like to sum it up. But so what's your business? You got a business, and it's a fair business. That's what I really like about it. I sent you a couple messages over the years talking about, and I like the stuff that you're putting out, because I was one of those guys. I got to college. I went to spring training up in the Frontier League. Didn't work out. Played in the Pecos League. I just told you and when I showed up, they only took me in the Pecos League on one of the teams because I came from the Frontier League. And I get there, and there's literally 50 pitchers there. So I get the smart idea after one of the games to throw a bullpen as the coaches are walking towards me as the game is over, and I'm just throwing the ball as hard as I can, and then I get a start the next day. And that kind of snowballed from there. Then I ended up pitching really good, and then got traded to Santa Fe over there with Bill Moore, who's the legend Bill Moore. And so your business model is basically a lot of people think in America that there's only affiliated baseball. And then the independent leagues, there's not a lot of information and stuff from there. But when you are able to information out there and understand that there's probably, I don't even know how many leagues there are in America, probably, I'd say legitimately 5 or 6 that are stable and stuff from there,
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So you get a team together of these guys that pay you for your connections, your training, your advice, and everything, and then you get to go play against these other teams in these better leagues, which I think is a giant opportunity. So I think that's where you're going on from there, and that's where I sent you, Paul Perez, and I've mentioned your name to a bunch of guys, like, hey, check this guy out, because connections that I did where I'm at in Mexico now, and I would have sent it to you. I probably would have contacted you because I went to the Nick Nelmonte camp too, pitched really well in it, and then they told me that I wasn't good enough.
See, the thing is that, the way that you rank the independent leagues and the way that people see, this is the first thing that people need to understand. People don't understand about me or what we do. That this is a team first before it's a business, And sometimes I'm going to play. And sometimes Drew's going to play. And sometimes you don't play. Sometimes you don't pitch. Sometimes you drive 500 miles and you do nothing. Because it is a team, And I got to have the right guys to win, and I got to have the right guys to sign. And we don't win a lot. We're not a winning team. We don't just win all these games. But that's not the point. The point is to show that you're a good teammate, show that you know how to be part of a team, because that's really the number one thing. So I used to kind of just take, what we just were lucky enough to get what we had, like to get 10 guys to go on the road and do our thing, and I've been very lucky, and I think it's who you surround yourself with.
Joe was saying that it's who you surround yourself with, and going from there. Once again, having technical issues. Sorry for the people who are watching this live. I'm going to edit this whole thing together afterwards and cut out all the middle stuff.
Tally.
So, oh, there you are. Got you back again. Go ahead.
I was starting to get out. Sorry, man. We're in it. I was saying we've been lucky to have good guys with what we do, because you got to find good guys. This is not a thing where just anybody can pay me and play. Like, if some guys send money, I send it back. I have guys that have played for me for years. I send it back. I get rid of guys that I've known for years. Sometimes, like, I literally just kind of threw a guy off the team the other day, and I got rid of a couple guys a few days ago, because the thing that when we say it, we mean it. Like, this is not for everybody. And if you're a guy that can't handle not playing or not starting or not understanding why this guy won't pick you up or whatever, I can't have you. And if you're a guy who go to these California Winter League, I can't work for you. Putting your days of fate, whatever happens in that. I go at it the right way and you hit, but you can make it happen. But you have to be specific with what we do, what you do, and you got to be a good guy. So that's the number one thing, is when we put this team really a year round. The guys that go to Florida with us, and the guys that train in New Jersey with us, the guys that have won championships in men's leagues, done it, they're the guys that make it and play well in these spring training trips. And the guys that don't practice with us and don't do much, but I've heard of, and he's pretty good and whatever, they come out and they might still be a good ball player, but might not be anybody that you would want to have in your clubhouse. And that's a big thing that, for me, this is not just a clubhouse. This is my family. This is my life. I spend more time with these guys on the road doing this than I do with my own family. I don't see my brother. I don't see my mom as much as I see Drew here. And I love Drew, and we're like brothers. And so we can't have people that are in our family that are going to be cancers and be respectful, and people that, another thing that they think is that because they pay money that they're entitled. And for me, we're not charging much money. Like, the more veteran the player, the more experience they have, the less we charge. And especially if you put in years with me, if you put in time with me, I take care of you. Like, it's a respect thing. And this thing's only going to go so far. And I know I'm going to be doing it way longer than all the players. So I'm really trying to help them out and do the right thing. And sometimes I get really conflicted because you want to start a guy, or you want to, like, for example, we're in Windy City. Car gets totaled before the game, disrupted upside down. And I had another kid ready to start. That's like my guy. He's like my ace. And I wanted this kid to pitch because it was going to be the only game he pitched in spring training, other than like another bullpen he threw. And I made the wrong choice. The kid paid me, so I felt entitled to play him. And I never should have done that. I should have just started the guy I wanted to start, given him some money back, or told him I'd take care of him down the road. And we gave up 5 in the first, and then we end up scoring 3. So we lose 5-3, but we win 3-0 if I don't make that decision. And winning 3-0 is not about winning 3-0. It's about throwing a shutout. The kid that could have thrown the shutout was very instrumental in last year's spring training. So it's you get this weird mix between, do I want to win or do I want to showcase the guys? I'm in a very difficult situation every inning, every minute. This guy feels the pressure with me. This guy's like ice water, because I'm bugging out in the dugout. Pitch count. Who's going to throw tomorrow? He's falling behind too much. He's got runners on base. He's not holding runners on. The coach doesn't want to see the next guy. The coach wants to see this guy another inning. Now it changes the whole game. Who's on the bench? Who needs to play? Who needs to... it's such a difficult thing. It's not like just showing up to the ballpark every day and being like, all right, best 9 guys play, and let's win the games, Sometimes we do. And when we were getting our ass kicked a little bit here, we did play the best guys, and that's where we've really changed it, to teach the guys that if you're not the best guy, you're here to take BP every day. And that might turn into BP with Cameron Monger and Taylor Oldham and guys that have played years of professional baseball. I think that experience is more valuable than playing in some of these games. And a lot of the guys that didn't play a lot on this year's tour, Marvin Montgomery, Elon Trishida, Michael Grant, 3 of those guys just signed today in the Pecos League at a tryout. So was it more beneficial for them to play in the games and get their doors blown down by guys throwing 97? Was the first guy that Florence Righty brought out of the pen, right? Or where was that? No, the Atlantic League. In the Atlantic League, the first righty, Lancaster. First righty, they go 3 lefties, 91, and then they bring a righty, 98. Is it fair for me to have those kids go, get overmatched? Because Riley Palmer was overmatched, and Aaron Brill was overmatched, and I mean, I don't know, they can compete, but the guy's throwing 98. When have you seen it? So we made it more of a training program for those guys so they can take effective BP and be a gap-to-gap hitter and know how to use their speed and know how to play defense and know how to run the bases. And it's more important. Yeah, and they still got the professional experience. They still got some at-bats. Elon got his knock in normal. I was so happy for him. Triplett hit a couple home runs in normal, but he's not going to do that every day on a day-to-day basis in the Frontier League. So now a handful of guys are signed in the Pecos League, and I know for sure that their training will help them put up numbers. So if we can get them to put up numbers, because that's the most important thing. Last year, we signed a lot of guys, and they didn't hit, and they had 7 ERAs and arm problems. And you got to have numbers to get out of the shitty leagues. You got to. And it's not a shitty league. It's just a shitty situation. It's just, look where I'm driving right now. I mean, this is not where you want to play. You know, New York is where the money is, baby. Texas is where the money is. Cali's where the money is. You know, and honestly, there's no money in independent baseball. If you're doing this for money, get another job. You know for sure, Johnny, you definitely know that this is not about the money, man. The money is in Hollywood, and that's why you got to start thinking about who's going to play you in the movie. I already got a couple people in mind, but it's about Hollywood, bro. It's about this story. This has never been done before. The Jonathan Sintes story has never been done before, even if they already shot all the episodes of Eastbound and Down. You cannot be recreated, bro. And I can't be recreated, and Drew can't be recreated, and the Empire League and all these other things that are going on. It's like so funny because they fuel the fire of everything that's going on, and it just makes it a lot more exciting. Like, as much as I don't want to deal with it, I like dealing with it because it's the reason I have a job, It's kind of weird. But that's kind of the story of the dudes, man, and that's kind of, I could go on forever, man. I'm just kind of driving here in Montana, or I don't know where I am right now. But
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah. So, dude, that's so funny that you said that. My mom actually tells me that all the time. She's like, you should write a book or do something, or get on there and tell everybody. And that's why I started doing this podcast a while ago. With the Jared Bowser, the Benji Waite, these guys who played with me that like were on the TV show, the Pecos League, that got such a bad rap from the situation because when I was there, I understood what it was. Like, I knew I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was on the team. I was getting numbers. I had talked to someone who was like, look, you need to play. You need to put up good numbers. That's what you have to do. Like, if you're not playing, and a lot of people get, when you get looked over in the draft and you don't understand that what you're there for, that's where I think you get into those problems like the guys you were talking about that are expecting jobs just because they showed up. And I never expected a job to show up. Once I got there and kind of saw what was going on, I mean, it was definitely like, okay, I have to be more proactive about how I'm going to make my connections, whatever. And then I meet this guy, I mean, another legend. I had on a podcast years ago. I got to catch up with him. You probably remember him, Rod Tafoya.
Yep.
Rod Tafoya, the lefty, the 52-year-old guy still throwing low to mid-80s. They could probably show up right now and carve up any hitter that you want and grunts like Nolan Ryan, but still only throws 82 miles an hour. He's got 300 million wins in amateur baseball, counts every one of them, but he understands that when he steps on the mound, he's in for a fight and he wants to win. That's his whole thing. So it's just so funny with me, but I meet him and he's got a roommate from when he played ball back in years ago that's starting up an expansion team in a Mexican minor league organization and asked me if I want to go play. I did some research on the league and couldn't really find much. And I said, well, it's either that or go back to the Pecos League. And these guys were offering more money. So I've already, I was an all-star in the Pecos League. So let's just see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that happen if I go to this situation? It was 20 minutes on the other side of the border. Do I just come back? Sure. All right, cool. No problem. So, and then it kind of just spiraled from there. Once I got there, I realized there's a whole big league situation. There's other minor league teams. There's other winter ball. I was real fortunate to play big league winter ball this year, which I think was probably the best thing. Sergio Romo was on my team, Oliver Perez, and I ended up leading. I was like first or second in the league in appearances, and then same thing in the season, and then the same thing in playoffs. And hopefully I'll get to go back to that team and, being a good teammate, like you're saying, a good person, and trying to put out, as much quality information is the whole reason why I started this thing. That's why when I saw you, I saw some stuff that you put out, you were one of your legendary rants, going off about guys that, are in it for a business, not necessarily to. Everybody's in a business to make money, but don't have really good intentions. And that's what I'd noticed was genuine about you, even from the beginning. I mean, I think you and I spoke like 10 minutes. I doubt you even remember me speaking. Like, I remember Simon talking to me and being like, where are you from? Who are you? What's going on? I'm like, I'm from the small town of Florida. And, I had thrown against you guys. I went like 7 innings in Alamogordo, didn't give up a run, struck out, I think 10 or 12 or something like that. Everybody was having big debates that I was throwing sliders the whole time, but there was a cutter. And it was, just a funny situation. And then the more guys I met, the more it was like, oh, okay, like, wow. Okay, so if we had a radar gun here, you are throwing 90 miles an hour. Why can't you go play here and do this and that? So I think it's awesome that you're just giving guys opportunities, getting eyes in front of the people. Because, I went to some of those camps that you had mentioned too. I mean, I think the first camp I went to, I struck out all 6 guys that I faced. And then they told me I didn't have the stuff to play at that level, which I was confused because they had signed 3 of those guys that I'd struck out. So I was just on their general perception of me. They saw my velocity, and I'm not a guy that really goes out and tries to blow things by you. I want to make it dance every time that you get in the box. I don't want a straight ball at the same speed, at the same height, at the same location anytime. I want to make it as difficult as you can on you. That's really what helped me in winter ball, being a reliever and coming in and, curve, slider, change, fastball, like what, everybody's like expecting a different thing and understanding that you got to be on your A game when you get in the box. So, I do all that and then just kind of get overlooked, and it's like, okay, well, that's fine. I'm not offended. It's your opinion. I'm going to keep going. I wanted to thank you for what you're doing, because I think it's awesome that you are going around setting up games. And if I can help you, I mean, when you were talking about you want to play Mexico, I thought of a guy right away. We'll talk about it off the air. I got a phone number. I will give you this guy's phone number, and I got some ideas for you. So I think that, I want to help you, because I got a message from a kid that is in his senior year and recently was just like, hey, man, I know you're playing down in Mexico. If you remember me, I threw at the college that he was at, and then ended up going to the college that I went to. And he's like, I don't know if I'm going to get drafted or not, but, I just want to know because it's a month away. And if they don't tell me, if I don't get drafted, then baseball's over. I'm like, wait. Baseball's not over, bro. Don't even go with this baseball's over stuff, man. I'm 31 years old and still playing professional baseball. You're 22, you're fine. Like, you will find a job. There's plenty. And I told him about you, told him about the other independent leagues, like what better options are and stuff if it doesn't happen. And I said, people still get signed out of that, and so he was much more accepting of like, oh, okay, it's not the end of the world. Like, obviously, there's this thing that a lot of people don't talk about, this depression level of you get to your senior year and the one thing you've done longer than school is baseball. And now it's done and school's done. Now what in the world do I do? And I think that's an awesome service that you provide.
And you don't have to thank me. It's kind of because everything that I've kind of done has been, I don't want to say it's not on accident. It is all, but I'm not a guy who's very like, things happen for a reason. Things happen because you put yourself in those situations, because you have a thought and you want to, and you act on that thought. Most people don't act on the thought. But the thing that kids have to remember is, and I don't know how to, I don't want to say that, I try not to say this in like a cocky way or anything, but I'm 33 years old and I'm better than some of the guys that I have. And I'm better because I play 150 games a year, whether it's in a men's league, whether it's down in South Florida, whether it's in spring training, whether it's whatever it is. And if I have the chance to play, legit have a chance to play, someone might at 33 for you at 20, The thing is that these 22-year-olds out of college have to realize, and it's the hardest thing to explain to them, is that it might not be right now. It might be in 3 years. And if you can't accept that, then you can't play, or you're not going to make it, because you are going to be depressed and you are going to be upset and think and worry about your situation. And you really can't do that. You got to work on what you're doing and just keep doing your thing, because as soon as you get distracted, someone else is going to take your job. And that's where one thing for me to keep playing and learning and doing what I'm doing, I learn from younger players. I'm learning from guys that are better than me. I learned a lot about playing shortstop from Michael Gonzalez when I was in El Paso for like 70 games watching that kid play shortstop, and I take ground balls with him every day. I learned just as much from him as I did taking ground balls from Bryson Bell and Josh Cakebread in the Pecos League, because they were playing on totally different fields. They're playing on shitty fields, and I learned a lot from Louis Parache, kid who played 5 years in the Frontier League. All these guys are younger than me, and I'm learning from them. And the thing that these other younger players don't understand, that they did understand, is that you're not all going to play in the Atlantic League. You're not all going to play in the Can-Am League. You're not all going to play in the American Association. You might never make it to that level. And the reason is not talent. Like you said, you went in and struck out 6 guys at a tryout. But the more I learned about tryouts, or that I learned right away, was did you strike me and Drew out 6 times? Because you should have. And that's where players, they strike out, the velo's there, they strike some guys out, but they don't realize who are you credibly facing. And that's why I don't agree with things like California Winter League, the Arizona Winter League, all these winter leagues, and guys say, I hit 475. Yeah, off of who? Rosario, because he had $4,000? And you got all your hits up the middle because I'm 30 years old and I can't get there anymore and I should be playing third base? So it's like, credibly, what are you doing in professional baseball to really be a professional? And that's one of the main reasons I provide the tour, and what we did here is so you could drive down this beautiful road here with absolutely nothing on it and know what it's like to be a professional. And you can go in a locker room and pay your $7 a day in the Atlantic League to the clubby. And you can go and you can not get enough food after the game in this city. And you could not want to take a shower because it's so disgusting in this city. And then you could not have a locker room in the Pecos League or wherever in California. I want them to experience what being a pro is really like, because if I didn't experience it, I wouldn't have embraced it. And I embrace it because for me, this is challenging. It's more challenging just to get there, not to play the games, but just to get there. And if that challenge alone is good enough to motivate you, then you'll make it. And these dudes need to understand at 22, 23, and this is the hardest thing to explain. Oh, man, we did.
Oh, I heard something. Sounded like we lost him for a second. Well, yeah, I'll continue on with that with him, but I totally agree. Me personally, being 3 years out of college and finally get an opportunity to play baseball, there's a couple times in my life where I've actually been like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to play baseball, and I feel fortunate that I could actually learn that about myself and be like, oh, okay, this is satisfying. This is what I'm supposed to do. And a lot of people just get a job and start working. And, I've never been a desk job guy. I hope I never am. And this is why I do this and do a lot of other stuff. So let me see if I can get Joe back on here real quick and see if we can figure this out. Okay. So lost Joe. Happens. Probably my connection here in Mexico and Joe in the middle of nowhere driving to Denver. Probably gonna have to try to do that again with him. He's got a ton of knowledge and a ton of information and stories, and obviously he can rant. You're gonna have to follow him on Instagram. Check him out on Black Sox Pro Baseball, at Black Sox Pro Baseball. Awesome follow. He's always posting good stories on his Instagram. I'm sure he'll be able to tell you a little bit more about that stuff. But if anybody out there is looking for an opportunity to get seen, that's pretty much the whole thing behind this is get an opportunity, get seen, do what you got to do. Contact him. You can contact me and I can pass along information to him. And so last thing, don't forget check out the store. Got the shirts. I like this baseball style tri-blend. These are the most comfortable shirts I've ever. This is all I wear now. Tri-blend shirts. I'll have probably one of these on the store pretty soon. We'll be having that. So check that out. Also, don't forget the J-bands. Never can leave home without them. Always get stronger. And then the tap-weighted balls. I'm probably going to throw this guy in just a little bit. So awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks to everybody. Check it out. Link will be in the description for the online store. Also, contact Joe. Check me out on Instagram. Go from there. Don't forget, throw hard.